again, and welcome back to Breakpoint Safety Talks. If you don't already know, my name is Rachel Dreyer. On this episode, we will be reviewing the importance of allowing employees to properly acclimate to working in the heat. Let's start off with the Cal OSHA regulation on acclimatization. Cal OSHA Regulation 3395G states, all employees shall be closely observed by a supervisor or designee during a heat wave. Heat wave in the standard is defined as any day in which the predicted high temperature for the day will be at least 80 degrees Fahrenheit and at least 10 degrees Fahrenheit higher than the average daily temperature in the preceding 5 days. An employee who has been newly assigned to a high heat area shall be closely observed for the first 14 days of the employee's employment. Now that we understand what the Cal OSHA regulation states, let's review further on the importance of allowing employees to properly acclimate. Acclimatization is a process in which the body adjusts to increased heat exposure. The body needs time to adapt when working in hotter environments. Employees are more likely to develop heat illness if not allowed or encouraged to take it easy when a heat wave strikes or when starting a job that newly exposes them to heat. Acclimatization is fully achieved in most people within 4 to 14 days of regular work following at least 2 hours per day in the heat. Cal OSHA investigations in 2005 found that 46% of the reported heat-related illnesses happened to employees on their first day on the job. And then 80% of the reported cases of heat illness occurred within the first 4 days of employment. During heat waves and with new employees, employers must be extra vigilant. A supervisor or designee must closely observe all employees. Let's review some best practices for acclimating employees. To minimize the risk of heat illness, encourage employees to report to their supervisors if they have returned to work after an absence, recently been working in cool climates and are just now starting to work in a warm or hot climate, had a change in their work activities, locations, or conditions. Any of these circumstances may mean the employees are not acclimated to working in warm or hot environments and are at greater risk for heat illness. Make sure employees are trained, monitored, and watched closely. Remember that employees who have not been acclimated to working in the heat are at greater risk for developing heat illness. These employees should never work alone. It is important to train employees and supervisors on the importance of acclimatization, train employees and supervisors to quickly recognize and report any conditions associated with the lack of acclimatization, such as an employee not having continuously worked enough hours under hot conditions. Train employees and supervisors on the importance of recognizing and quickly reporting heat illness symptoms. Have supervisors and coworkers use a buddy system to watch each other closely and for discomfort or signs of heat illness. Watch new employees even more closely. Find ways to lessen the intensity of employees' work during a heat wave and during the 14-day break-in periods of new employees. Set up a system to account for the whereabouts of your crew at appropriate intervals throughout the work shift and at the end of the work shift. For example, keep a log of employees on your work crews, including their names, supervisors, work locations, and hours worked on any given day. To help further mitigate the hazards of working in the heat, employers can include one or more of the following. Have employees pace themselves. If they are not accustomed to working in warm or hot environments, they should start work slowly and pick up the pace gradually. Reduce physical demands. Assign employees to less physically demanding tasks during their first 14 days of working in a warm or hot environment. Schedule and provide frequent breaks. Supply sufficient amounts of drinking water. And lastly, start an acclimatization program. These programs have employees work for progressively longer periods in warm or hot conditions where they are at risk for heat illness. The following charts provided by NIOSH show how to properly acclimate an employee who has had previous experience at work sites where they are at risk for heat illness, and employees who are new to work sites where they are at risk for heat illness. Please note, the acclimatization schedule by NIOSH is only an example program. Depending on the environmental and personal risk factors present, you may need to extend the time employees spend in your program. This means that for some employees, it may take up to 14 days of working in the heat for them to fully acclimate. Throughout this time period, you should gradually increase employees' time working in the heat. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Breakpoint Safety Talks. Always remember to follow proper procedures to keep you and everyone around you safe. Until next time, stay safe out there.